So what happens when an opportunity knocks? Do you say yes, or do you overthink it, worry, and close back down?
The current situation is making many of us reevaluate how we live our life, and perhaps look at some of the things we might say yes to when this is all over.
In this episode, we share some of our past yeses that have changed the course of our life and how they've been fundamental to our happiness.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Welcome to the Midlife Mentors.
Hello, I'm Claire.
I'm James.
How are we all? We are in week 4 of lockdown. Depending on whenever you're listening to this, we are in lockdown week 4.
In the UK, also wherever you are listening to this.
Yes, exactly. So James, what are we talking to everyone about today?
So we're calling this episode Opportunity Knocks, the Power of Yes.
We are, but actually, before we dive into it, we want to let them know what we've been up to.
We do. So, those of you that follow us more closely probably know, but we ran over the Easter holiday what we think was the world's first virtual retreat.
Yeah, we did look around, and we have actually had someone from the Daily Telegraph. So they haven't seen anyone else do a virtual retreat. So
we qualify that, virtual fitness retreat.
Yes, a virtual fitness retreat, exactly. So we just had the most amazing time because we were obviously supposed to start our 2020 season running our Easter retreat in Ibiza, but the world had other plans. So not to be beaten by this virus, we thought, what can we do? And within a week, we had put together a virtual retreat with guest speakers, with yoga, with workout sessions, and lots of workshops. So we loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome. If you're wondering how that worked, then we did a schedule, just like we would do for a normal retreat. So we had a workout session, then there was a break for breakfast, and we had another training session, a break for lunch, then some workshops, kind of one after the other. We even included recipes with suggestions of what to have for lunch, for dinner, for breakfast. And people could either do the whole thing or they just dipped in and out the sessions they wanted to do, and they could just join it all, join the live stream of what was happening.
Yeah, it was as close to our in-person retreats as possible, basically. So we had a very mind, body and soul approach to it all. So we had mindfulness as well, and then we had yoga, and then I also did a little meditation at the end, and we had Ryan talking about moon boosting foods and what you can do to boost your immune system around this time, because obviously that's very important. So it was just amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What a bit of a come down now.
Yeah, what was great actually was seeing we had well over 100 people signed up for it.
We were totally overwhelmed by that.
And what was great was seeing all the comments in there, but people actually starting to chat to each other and support each other and find out each other's stories. It was just really, really beautiful thing.
I know, we did do it to obviously create that connection, that sense of connection for ourselves as well, because quite frankly, we were going to be doing workout, we were going to be doing this stuff anyway, so we just thought we'd share it with as many people as possible. But it was a funny Easter for us as well, because of what we've said for years now. We've run our first retreat of the season out in Ibiza. So, we just decided to ask everyone to join in, connect with us, and actually some of your personal stories were just beautiful. You know, people are feeling completely lost and isolated at the moment and just wanting something to focus on. So a little bit of structure. So it really, really helped. Rather than floating into Easter, just eating Easter eggs, everyone had a little bit of focus and structure. So it was just really awesome.
Yeah, it was so awesome. We're going to do another one. So the May Bank Holiday, which this year falls on Friday the 8th.
Yeah.
Saturday the 9th of May. We are going to do another virtual retreat. So we'll tell you how and where to sign up for that at the end of this.
Yeah.
If you fancy joining us, it's free. We did it all for free. Just said people could submit a donation if they wanted to.
Yeah, we felt really strongly about that because obviously circumstances right now, we didn't want people to not join just because of financial circumstances. So yeah, it was amazing. So that's a little bit about what we've been up to in the last week since we launched our other podcast.
It is, and that's something we said yes to because being quite frank, bobbling along in lockdown.
Bobbling along.
Oh, shall we, shan't we? How would it even work? And yeah, for us, we work every Easter. We're unlike most people. We spent every Easter working on retreats,
which we love.
So there was like should we just like relax and enjoy Easter? But then we thought, you know what can we do anyway? And we are still going to up and train ourselves, and so let's just spread the love.
So basically, that was an opportunity that knocked, and then we had the power to say yes. See what we did there?
Which is about what this week is about.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is all going to be about us exploring a little bit about James and I, in the sense of the other ones, we've kind of given you a few serious ones recently, and we just thought, let's let you into the background and the backstory of Claire and James a little bit. So, actually, we're going to share some of the opportunities in our lives that have come knocking, that we've actually said yes to, that we truly feel have changed the course of and the direction of our life. So I just thought it was kind of something quite fun to share, but also with a serious undertone of, in life, sometimes opportunities come and our immediate reaction potentially is to think of what the worst outcome for that could be. Our brains are pretty hardwired to look at something and say, oh, what if this, what if that, what if this? So that kind of comes from our ancestors needing to stay safe and protect themselves. But, these opportunities come and we don't always say yes to them. And I think throughout this scenario that's going on with the world right now, potentially we're going to come out and want to say yes to more opportunities. So that's why we're doing this podcast as well. So we are going to, without further ado, we're going to go, James will do one, we're going to do 3 each, James will do one, and then I'll do one, and then vice versa until we've done all 3.
Exactly.
And then we might do a sneaky one at the end.
My first one is going travelling, but especially the second time. So I did what a lot of people do, like after I finished university, then I just worked for a bit to get some money together and went off travelling on my own, which was amazing. But I don't consider that was like a big risk or a thing that people is not likely to do because so many people do it. However, later in life...
I didn't actually.
Oh, okay. Later in life, I decided to go again. And the backdrop to this was I had a successful corporate career and it was 2008. So we were just seeing the beginnings of the recession. And I decided to go off travelling. And loads of people were kind of advising me that it probably wasn't a genius time to spend my savings going around the world. And that, because we were heading into recession, when I got back, I found I'd been out of the workplace for actually it was 9 months in the end, that I wouldn't, be downskilled, wouldn't be able to get a job because there wouldn't be any around. There was certainly a lot of fear around, but I did it anyway. So,
what did that teach you, Mr. D?
What it taught me was, don't you can look too far ahead and always find reasons for not doing things. And in the end, the irony was, I went travelling, had an amazing time, and actually ended up straight away walking back to a better job than I had the one when I left. So,
if you hadn't have said yes,
I hadn't said yes, I would have spent. Well, who knows what would have happened? This is the thing, we never know. It's like sliding doors, you don't know.
I said that earlier.
The point was, I did say yes. I took the risk against a lot of advice. I went, and it worked out really well for me. Because not only did I have that amazing experience of travelling, like all through the world, I came back to a better position at the end of it.
I think that's really important to say, actually. There's so many times when we have said no and we don't know what direction our life would have taken us. And actually, if we've... These yeses that we've said have completely changed the direction of our life. So for me, mine's a really odd one. You're going to be going, what the hell? So I worked in PR for years and years and years, like 14 years. But as you probably know, I hated it. I was trying to get out of it all the time. So I was doing life coaching, NLP, stress management consultancy. So doing all these different things. And then a friend of a friend. So there was a job at her local council in Essex for being an adult safeguarding officer. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's basically making sure that within your area, adults that are at risk are safeguarded. So basically looking after them. Now, I'd actually, you might not know this, I'd actually also applied for the police and then decided not to do that either. So there was really something in me that wanted to help people, even with the life coaching stuff. I was just trying all these different things. And I actually said yes to that interview for this adult safeguarding job. And I got it. I had no qualifications at all. None. I obviously went through all the checks and everything, but I had no
I find that hard to believe. You passed all those criminal checks.
That's you, not me. I actually got the job, and it was amazing. It was such an eye-opener. And the reason I'm so glad I said yes to that was because I really realised that, yes, it's really important to have qualifications, but it's very much about your passion. And actually, your intent. And I went into that interview with like the most beautiful intent, to be honest with you, and that's why I got the job. And actually saying yes to that got me out of my other job, and then led me to do my PR job at the Museum of London, which I did end up absolutely loving. And yeah, I was able to leave that safeguarding job quite quickly, which if I hadn't have taken that, I wouldn't be able to leave my previous PR job, and I wouldn't have been able to take the Museum of London. So sliding doors.
Yeah, it's a good point there. Sometimes, like, a step forward that then feels wrong when we take it might open another door.
It really did. I was like, oh my God, what have I done here? What have I done? Like, everyone was like, what are you doing? What is safeguarding officer over in Essex? So, it was one of the things I said yes to. I'm really pleased I did, because it really did prove to me that, that it was more about the intent of going in, and qualifications don't always mean everything.
Which leads me on nicely to my next one.
Oh, yeah.
So, which was pursuing one of my passions. So, when I was younger, as you know, I trained as a psychologist for 5-6 years. I actually worked at psychological consultancy for a little while. But my passion, I didn't really enjoy it at the time. My passion was writing and dance music. And an opportunity came up to work for the Ministry of Sound. And when they contacted me, I just leapt at it and did it. And I walked in, and I had to blag the entire thing. They're basically launching a new magazine, and they wanted me to run the section of it, the club section. So I had to blag a lot about what I knew and who I knew and what I knew, and I was totally out of my depth. But saying yes to opportunity, I made it my own, and the magazine became really successful. I loved writing my section. I upskilled really quickly so that I could work with designers on pages, on programs and stuff like that, and just loved it. And that was an example of being terrified of something. And it would have been easy to say no to it and carry on with a sensible corporate career. Because again, I didn't really know this was going to go and work for a nightclub publishing a magazine. But I had the best time. And it actually gave me a lot of the confidence I have now. I wasn't that confident before that job.
Yeah,
so that was taking
awesome.
a big leap and feeling the fear and just going along with it anyway.
Yeah, my next one, I love that, and I love your stories around that. He always sends all the story, gives me all the stories of back in the day. I hear back in the day all the time. Another one for me was actually, this is more kind of like an actual physical fear, and I've had it all my life. I was very, very claustrophobic. So very claustrophobic. Not many people might know that about me. And I went travelling actually when I was 28. Same year as James, which is odd. So 2008, and that was just before the crash, actually.
I think you're probably following me.
Oh, yeah, you wish. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I went travelling, first of all. That's not what I wanted to talk about. That was a massive, I'm so glad I said yes to that. But I thought I'd be a bit more specific. So I actually said yes to doing my PADI, which is your diving qualification. Now, anyone that's done that before will know that I couldn't actually have thought of anything more terrifying than to have that mask over my face and go into water. So I'm actually not brilliant in water either.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, I'm terrible, aren't
You're
I?
no mermaid.
No, I'm no mermaid. I'm a land mammal. And I decided to do my diving qualification, and I even had almost like a panic attack, even in the shallow water on the first day when they put the mask on. And I just kept pushing through it. I kept saying yes. I kept saying yes to myself and my experience, and no to my fear. And that was a massive, massive, it was huge proof to myself that my mind can be changed, and actually even change a physical fear, like a physical reaction in my body. So it just showed me that yes was how powerful my mind really is. I mean, quite frankly, the funny part of this story is I did pass, but I wasn't very good. And I actually did get convinced to go on a night dive, and I did get lost in Thailand. I mean, it didn't end well, but at the end of the day, I did pass, and I overcame my fear and realised how strong my mind is, basically, by saying yes.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point there as well. Like, we've all had, well, you and I have definitely had like challenging situations where there's been a lot of fear around them. But gone on and done it, and then I think on a fundamental level that can like change your outlook quite significantly.
Well, yeah, because we've said it on other podcasts. You know, we're designed to think of the worst case scenario. Our imagination is often used in an actually really bad way. It's such a blessing, our imagination, but we use it to kind of think of that worst case scenario. So if we have constantly given into that, our lives would look very, very different to what they look like now. And actually, I'll be as bold as to say, we wouldn't be dealing with what's going on now in the world as well. You know, we have our ups and downs, of course, and that's natural, but we wouldn't be dealing with what's going on as well as we are now if we hadn't pushed through and said no to the fear and yes to life, basically.
Right, my last one, it's quite a big one, was moving to Ibiza. So I was happily settled in London, really good career. This is obviously post-travelling again. And just feeling it wasn't doing it for me. So walked away from a really good job and used all my savings to move to Ibiza and set up a new life. And the first 2 to 3 years were horrific. It was such a struggle. Whatever could go wrong did go wrong. Obviously ended my marriage then at the time as well, a divorce.
The way you looked at me then, my marriage at the time, I was like, well, it's not my one. He's got something to tell me live on a podcast.
So for a while, it looked like a really, really bad decision. But the thing is, it's put me where I am now. It's put me doing something I love, living on an island I love, travelling, and doing events in Marbella, doing events in London, doing events in Ibiza. And I guess most importantly, it's brought me Claire. So that was a great move.
So yes, we're going to do a little one together at the end of that. But so my final one would be at 31, deciding I wanted to yet again qualify in something else. So pour my money into something else and become a personal trainer. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you. When I decided to do that, my ego was screaming, what? You want to be a personal trainer? Like, anyone could be a personal trainer, Claire. Blah, blah, blah. You've done all of this study, blah, blah, blah. All of that, like, super ego stuff, putting me down. But you want to become a PT. And I went on with it, and I thought, even if I don't want to do it as a career, I'm going to do it anyway. So I invested loads of money. It was at the time that my marriage was falling apart and didn't know where I was going to live.
Not our marriage.
Losing my house.
One of your other ones.
One of my other ones. James. So, yeah, I was basically losing my house, my dog. I was actually put on antidepressants. So it was a really difficult time. And I was qualifying to be a PT. And then once that happens, life was getting even worse. And I said yes to all of this. And then I got a job in my local gym. And I said yes. And I actually went back down to minimum wage. And my pride, my ego, everything, you know, the PR girl, the stuff that, you know, the woman that had things that she wanted, could afford things that she wanted, just went out the window. And I found it really hard at the beginning to marry those things together. But what that saying yes to that gave me was an understanding that I'm willing to do anything for my dream, to fulfill myself, to live an amazing life. And that even my pride, which can be pretty strong sometimes, I'll admit that. that was a fake cough and is being mean. You know, I am a proud person, and I was willing to actually just put my pride aside and go back down to minimum wage and wipe people's sweat off of gym equipment. That was pretty brave. That was pretty strong and showed me what I'm made of. And actually, I think that sent a message out to the universe, like, this woman is serious about living life on her terms and not settling and not compromising.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, I know we've got one we're doing together, but I think we've also forgotten one, because Lola's just given me a look and said,
Lola, our dog.
what about me?
Yeah.
Well, that is a very good point.
We said yes to a Pomeranian.
So yes, Pomeranian, when we're only still finding our feet with each other. And very shaky. And we knew we were spending our time between the UK and Spain, and that a dog would massively complicate everything.
Well, yeah, we were going through a hard time anyway, weren't we? Like, it all looks like lovely bows and roses on the outside, but we were struggling without all of our baggage that we brought to the relationship that we have talked about in one of the podcasts. Or a few. We decided to get a dog.
And not just any dog.
A Pomeranian
This dog.
Don't disturb her, because she'll start squeaking a squeaky toy.
And that's our decision that, you know, on the face of it, could have been a really bad one.
Everyone was like, what are you doing?
We are forced to adjust our life around her, and she's brought us so much joy. So yeah, another great
And a
decision.
sense of responsibility as
Yeah.
well, like a sense of like groundedness. I know that because our life from the outside does probably look a bit all over the place. We love it. We love the uncertainty, but she brings that element of groundedness to us, doesn't she?
She does.
So, well done, little Lola.
thought so.
So one final one. Shall I say it?
Yeah.
So actually, I suppose it's a joint one. If I'd have never, oh my goodness, this is proper sliding doors. One of my friends had moved to Ibiza. I then went to visit her. I then went into the gym that Kelly and James were running, and I met James. And that was nearly 10 years ago. Nearly 10 years ago. So again, if I hadn't have said, it's a small thing, but if I hadn't have said yes, if Ibiza had never gone on, been on the agenda, because it's not somewhere I did used to go, I would never have bumped into James. And we also said yes
To each other.
You know, like
At
him,
a really difficult time.
like him moving to Ibiza, obviously all that time ago that he mentioned, but then me going and visiting him, but then also saying yes to each other. Yeah, like James said, at a really difficult time. I was still properly wounded, wasn't I?
We're both still properly wounded. On paper, we're both really bad bets for a relationship.
And everyone told James. Everyone told James I was a really bad bet.
People told you about me as well.
No, not so much.
And we lived in separate countries, so it had disaster written all over it.
Yeah, and I said yes to move in within a few months of us getting together. Like, we'd known each other for a long time, but in a few months of us knowing, getting together, I packed up my whole life in Surrey. I'd fought for my little flat that I'd bought, and I loved it, and I left my little flat that was kind of my healing place, and my job that was starting to go really well, you know, all the PTing and everything, and moved my life over to Ibiza. And James actually said yes to me moving there. With my sofa, I hasten to add. I turned up with my sofa.
I remember the day your sofa turned up.
He was like, oh no,
So we took
can't
a
get out of
chance
this.
on love, and we took a chance on
took a
each
chance.
other.
Yeah,
It's been
so
beautiful.
we said yes to each other.
Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you for saying yes. That's all we got to say, really, guys. So it's kind of like a bit of a random one, but not actually. We're just thinking, when we come out of this, even for us, actually, it's a really good point to make. And even for us, we work damn hard, like a lot of you will, but we work really, really, really hard. And I have to say, sometimes we've got the balance really, really wrong between just enjoying life and just working almost too hard. So there's a lot of things that we've been saying no to that we will now say yes to when we come out of this, because it has changed our view of the fragility of life and how we just need to jump in and enjoy it.
Exactly. I would say, like, we always like to try and give a takeaway. So I think we'd like to leave you with this. You know, life is basically about the choices that we make. And all too often, you know, opportunities come along which might seem really exciting to us, but then we convince ourselves of all the reasons we shouldn't do them. Like, our fear programming takes over. You know, and sometimes they're valid and sometimes they're not. The thing is, you're never going to know unless sometimes you take a risk and you do it.
Yeah. Absolutely, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that little one. What we'll do is we'll let you know how you can find out a bit more about the May Bank Holiday virtual retreat that we're running. So many people were really, really keen. The ones that did the Easter retreat were really, really keen to make sure they've got that. They're signed up for that. So we can't wait to share that with you all. And I think that's about all we've got to say.
It is. So, wishing you well in lockdown.
Yeah, we're always here for you guys, and we're sending you loads and loads of love. Big hugs. Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.